Hello, everybody, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is Summer Rain.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining on today, episode 227 of the podcast. You know him from GameXplain. We got the wonderful André Segers on the show. How's it going, André?
It's going good. I'm happy to be here, so thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for joining this week. We're so excited to have you on. We got you on this week. I can't go on Twitter without seeing you talking about this game. We're talking about F-Zero 99 today, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited. We're going to be doing an F-Zero 99 tips and tricks episode. We've all had a good bit of time with the game. Now we're going to break down the best ways to succeed and give some of our thoughts on the future of the game and other stuff like that as well. We've also got lots of news that we're going to be going over this week. It was a big news week. Unity finally put out a statement about the whole debacle that they've been going through. Hideki Kamiya is leaving Platinum. That kind of came out of nowhere. And then there was like a gigantic Microsoft leak. One of the biggest leaks in probably gaming history. It was pretty insane. And some of that had to do with Nintendo. We're going to be getting into all that and a whole lot more. But before we do that, how's everybody doing? We have a good past week. How are we?
Yeah, I can go first. So I had a great opportunity on Friday to show off my game, Monochrome Heights, at a local Austin indie meetup called Games Y'all. This month has been really crazy for me, and I kind of missed the acceptance of it going into this until the last minute. So I didn't get to push as many changes as I might have for this. At Games Y'all, they do different things every month, but this month was all about like feedback. And so it was great. I got positive feedback. I feel like I've been tweaking the movement. Nobody complained about the slide in the game. And that is a huge win. Like, I think the slide is where it needs to be.
Like the slipperiness or like the actual slide?
Oh, no, the actual slide. Two people said slippery still. Okay. I've been reducing the slipperiness of this game every build. And I will reduce it some more. But yay, it was fun. That was good.
Sorry to bring that up, Patrick.
No, it's okay.
Like I opened up an old wound.
I wish I had them handy. I think I do, actually. So I wasn't prepared for this, but they had like a written feedback form, right? Mm-hmm. That one's nice. Not one of them, but yes. So when I saw these, I couldn't look at them the night of, because I was like, if anybody wrote slippery on there, I'm gonna freak out. And of course, here it is.
Nice.
Slippy feel.
Slippy.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it, but yeah. Anyway, and then my mother-in-law came to stay with us because she's been having some mobility issues, and that was a thing. So it wasn't exactly a restful weekend, but everything's improving on that front. So yeah, I talked a lot. I'll stop.
No, it's all good. I'm glad to hear people are liking the game, especially like other game developers, right? Like showing that off to a group like that's got to feel pretty good. But,
yeah.
How you doing, Summer?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. My unfortunate 9 to 5 is ramping up, so like that's been keeping me busy, and my other time is testingly split between preparing for this show that I'm going to be in. The tickets just went on sale for it today, so if you're local to Oklahoma City, you can come see me in A Sensual Journey, which is one show that's part of the bigger Crude Festival. God, Crude Theater Fringe Festival. It's a mouthful for me to get it out. I promise I am working on my dances. Baldur's Gate and F-Zero, though, are just so...
Yeah.
They're testing me, Lord. They are testing me.
It is a horrible time to have any other hobby than video games.
Yeah. God. And I really thought, too, I was like, oh, man, I'm going to have time for games. And then I got asked to do this show. And like, y'all know me. I can't say no to that. But here we are. So that's where I'm at.
Nice. I'm doing okay. We got a very exciting week. Castlevania Nocturne comes out this week.
Right.
Yeah, and it was cool. We've got like an in-person premiere here in Austin, Texas for it, and I was able to like go and check out the like sound at the theater and stuff like that, and get it all like layered and ready, and listen to the 5.1 surround sound mix and stuff like that. So I'm really excited for that to come out. Everybody's just pleased as punch. And then, yeah, I think other than that, over the weekend, just chilling, playing a lot of F-Zero. It was a good time here at the Howe household. What about you, Andre? How was your past week?
Oh, my weekend was it was rough. I didn't play any F-Zero 99 at all over it. I mean, I was down in Vegas.
Bullshit.
I'm like, why aren't I playing F-Zero instead? No, I had a great time. It was fun. It was good to get a little break from the game. But yeah, I was in Vegas for my friend's birthday, and lots of drinks, lots of eating. We saw a show there, Ka, which was amazing. And the entire thing was like a whirlwind. It was just 2 nights, 3 days, so only 1 full day there. And now I'm back in the real world where I can actually play F-Zero. So it's not so bad.
Thank God. Very good.
Well, awesome. Last week we did an episode about the big September Nintendo Direct, or maybe big isn't the right word, depending on your perspective. We have so much great conversation in the Discord. I just want to shout out some names. Steve Irwin, I don't know Jack either, Medium Quality, Emma, KSBOKC, The Huge, Segovia, Swampy Southpaw, Cool Uncle Vince, and Hans. There's a really great debate about Bloodstained based on Jordan's comment last week. Very civil about whether it's... what ranking it deserves.
Very civil, despite me egging both of them on to kill each other.
Over on YouTube, we got a few comments, including Caro Seta saying, we try to rank these directs. They give it a C+. And then Sprowlix, thankfully, is the only person who pointed out my I hate Pokemon comment that I made in last week's episode. Which I just said again, dang it. So
every one of those is going to get clipped and put in the compilation, Patrick.
Anyway, if you're out there listening or watching, definitely send us a note, send us a direct message or post a comment somewhere, and we'll try to shout you out next time. And we also appreciate it if you hop on over to our YouTube. If you're not watching the podcast, check it out on YouTube and hit like and subscribe.
That's right. And hey, Sprowlix, I see you in there. We're definitely doing a Picross episode at some point in the future. Just sit tight. Yeah.
I meant to mention that. Thank you. Well, with all that, it's time to talk about the news and rumors and such for the week. We're starting off with Unity. So just anecdotally, this real quickly, when I was at the Games Y'all event, people would come up and be like, what engine are you making this in? Unity. And one person today to be like, yeah, everybody says it that way now.
It's like you have like a canceled actor in your movie.
Yeah,
or something.
right. But on a somewhat positive note, Unity has put out a sort of, they've been promising some changes to the thing they said they were going to roll out. And they've backtracked on a lot of stuff and made some changes where the whole runtime fee that's based on installs is now self-reported, and essentially, as I read it, is basically just downloads. That is a way to estimate it, right? And that is probably the only way to estimate it. And it's not even required. It could be a rev share of 2.5%. And this is only if you make, a large amount of money. I don't have it in front of me. I don't think they changed that, but it might still be $200,000. But they also have made this so that it's only for the future version of Unity and going forward. And if you're working on old ones, then the terms of service apply. And they also made it so that the free version of Unity, you don't have to put the Unity splash screen on, which is great for me.
Yeah.
So overall, I think these are pretty positive changes. I don't know if anybody else has any opinions or thoughts on any of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, is this like, okay, as a developer, Patrick, who is like making a game in Unity right now, like, is this sufficient? Like, is this what you were looking for from Unity as far as like an apology or something?
Expected would happen, because it didn't make sense. It didn't seem possible to do the things they were talking about legally and all kinds of things. But for me, like personally, I think this is like, okay, I don't feel any urge to jump ship in this moment. And then, I've talked about on here how I have this sort of intention to make these sort of smaller snack games. afterwards using the same code base, and that was so stressful to me. I feel like I could maybe keep doing that, and I've started learning Godot, but I'm not going to stop learning Godot because of this. And I think, maybe that's where the future lies, but like
might as well be bilingual.
Yeah. Can't hurt. I guess it's time and all that, but that's where I have landed, is like, okay, I feel a little like we'll see how it shakes out. No reason to rush to jump ship, but I'm going to keep one leg in each place, I guess you could say,
Sure. To have the version of Unity where it doesn't show the splash screen, do you have to update to the latest version of Unity that has these
That's a good question.
terms and conditions? Because that's a funny little dangling thing for them to. It's like, hey, it's like how you can hide your blue check mark now when you when you're on Twitter if you're like ashamed, but you still have to pay. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But
yeah, there's some fine print. I was kind of wondering about that myself, but I don't know the answer to that at this time. Yeah, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of people upgrading to the next version of Unity.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the problem, potentially, isn't it? Where existing games can't or won't, they're not incentivized to update to the latest version, which could potentially strand those games as we know them. They just won't be supported, perhaps, as they may have been originally.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. I think it's at least more... It's one of those things where you really hate. It's like when somebody does something really awful and then retracts it, and then something that's maybe not great is still there, and it's like, well, that's good. And you're like, well,
it's like, take me back, baby. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that smaller pile of poop is much better now.
Right. Yeah. It's honestly not terrible, but there was a lot of, really angry developers, and there was they did this post on Twitter, and I can move on. We can talk about something else in a minute, but
sure.
One of their comments, like replying to people, because they were just replying to everybody, and there must have been just some really, I feel bad almost for the Unity employees that had to do this, but one of them said something to the effect of like, I hate how the way that our terms of service stuff has been talked about, because it was really, we just took it down because nobody was looking at it, or like it because there was such low viewership on it. And that just reignited a lot of hatred to be like, of course there's low viewership on terms of service. Like, that's the only, you only look at it when you need to. And that doesn't mean you take it away.
Yourself. Like, I can't fall asleep at night unless I snuggle in with a nice terms of service to lull me to sleep in the late
That's
hours.
why I never lock my door. People never break into my house. So I'm not locking it.
Exactly, right? Like, anyway. Moving on to Nintendo-specific stuff here for a minute. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is joining Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack on, this Friday, September 29th. I've never played this game. Anybody here can tell me about it, sell me on it? Should I play this game? Is it standard Kirby? What's different about it?
No. I can only sell you on it what I've heard secondhand myself from a friend who bought it when they picked up an Analog Pocket in the last year or so. And apparently it's really good. They've had a lot of fun. I guess it has some Metroidvania-like elements, which is, unique for Kirby especially. And the fact that it is co-op focused means that even for people who own the game, it was at least in my experience, it was difficult to find enough people who owned a GBA, owned a copy of the game, and link cables to actually do multiplayer back in the day. So this might be the most viable this game's ever been, where you can now play this game with 3 other people online, and that's why I'm excited for it. Apparently the gameplay is good. You can play online with others, and I'm curious to try it out, because I have not actually seen this one myself much at all.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have played this game, but only it was on the 3DS like ambassador program. So like I played like that version, but only ever solo, right? And it is like pretty unique in that it's one of the only Kirby games you can get like lost in with those Metroidvania. Kirby's are usually pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, so I think that's like frustrated a lot of people in the past, but I do really enjoy this game. It's got beautiful, great, some of the best looking graphics on the GBA. I think Kirby games are always very handsome games. And I think, you're totally right. With a bunch of other people, this would probably be pretty fun. So if anybody's wanting to play some Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, hit us up on the multiplayer channel on the Discord.
Yeah, I'll play it. I played it on the Game Boy Advance when it came out as a child, and didn't know anyone to play it with. So would love to remedy that. Here we are, 20 years later?
Yeah, never
That'd
too
be
late.
Cool.
Nice. Well, and this next one, David, I got to throw this one over to you because this is your baby. Can you tell us about what's going on?
Yeah. Like I said up top, Castlevania comes out on Netflix on Thursday. I'm the editor on this show. I've been so excited to get this out in front of people for so long. It's a really great adaptation of Rondo of Blood and a little bit of Symphony of the Night. So we're really excited to get people's eyes on it. And also on the day that this episode comes out, Netflix is hosting on like their Twitch channel, and I think it's being co-streamed and on YouTube and stuff, something called Drop 01. Well, they'll be showing like the first 3 episodes of Castlevania Nocturne, along with like trailers and clips from a couple other shows that I've been working on at Powerhouse, including like the Tomb Raider show and Masters of the Universe. And then there's been kind of like teases about maybe like a Devil May Cry sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of, and some Sonic as well, some Sega stuff. So like there's going to be a lot of like video game animated adaptation stuff in this big Drop 01 that's happening from Netflix on Wednesday, the day this episode comes out. And you know, all that information will be online. So if you're a fan of animation and video game adaptations, it's something definitely to tune into.
Really excited for you, David. I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man.
Yeah.
Up in Seattle area, Animal Crossing fans are going to have a chance to go to the Seattle Aquarium and see a Seattle Aquarium Animal Crossing crossover. I don't entirely understand what this means, but I guess fish and that sort of thing from the game are going to be featured, and characters and all that. I think they did this in Japan as well a while back, but this is happening. So if you're in that area, starting in October, it seems kind of cool.
You excited about this, Andre? You going to this?
Yeah, I'm up in Seattle, so I might check it out. I'm not super hyped, especially if we really don't know anything about it. But it's close, so maybe I'll drop by.
You're not a big fish fan, as I take it.
I like eating fish, but looking at them a
wow.
little less.
Okay. Well, I see.
I don't know if Animal Crossing would approve of this, but
right. That's funny. Well, as David mentioned up top, and this happened today or last night, I think, but Hideki Kamiya, famous from Platinum Games, big personality as well, director of many games, including Bayonetta, and responsible for his role on Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101, apparently is separating from Platinum Games, and there isn't a lot of information about why or where he is going or what he's doing. But I don't know Summer. I feel like I want to hear your input on this one, because I don't think you're a big fan of Kamiya. Is that right?
I mean, it's this weird double-edged sword, right? Because like he is responsible for these excellent titles that I really like. He's also responsible for weird, icky decisions within those titles that I don't love too. So like, it's like hard to know what the creational direction might be from Platinum Games. I've already heard like in the rumor mill that it's just going to be shovelware mobile crap coming from them with his departure. When I heard the news this morning, the first place I posted it was to y'all, and then the second place I posted it to was like just a DM to my good friend who loves Bayonetta as well. And my gut reaction was like, oh my gosh, like Bayonetta can actually be like bisexual now, not to like do spoilers about the third game, but like, and she was like, so I want to be happy about that, but it sounds like we're just going to get like shovelware crap now that he's leaving, because apparently he was like the force behind like Platinum Games still doing console games. And that makes me sad.
Yeah, I know he didn't like direct the last 2 Bayonettas. Like I think he was in as a like he did like a lot of the story stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think like it actually had a different internal developer. So it's like I think like there's been tension.
Maybe it was already in that direction.
Yeah, and even like Astral Chain, like I don't think like he directed that game either. His role has been like diminishing over the years. He's been just kind of like the poster child for kind of in the same way that like Miyamoto like doesn't really direct games anymore, right? But he's still like the face of Nintendo. So
sure, and
so
we're
I don't know.
tired of him being the face of it, considering
Yeah,
way
I
he
almost-
treats his overseas fans, right?
Yeah,
the way
well-
that this came out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Like-
And to be honest, it was hard for me to even know that this had happened because I'm blocked by Camilla on Twitter. So
Who is it?
Yeah,
that was the
exactly,
first
right.
joke I saw was this announcement had to come from the Platinum Games Twitter because if he tweeted it, no one would know that
Yeah.
it had that he left the company.
Exactly. All I said
Right.
was all I said was good job on a Tetris 99 Maximus Cup. All right, that's all I said to him. And that was
Wait,
enough to get it done.
seriously? He did
Yeah.
block. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. But anyway, that's fine.
That's so funny. Good.
But I don't know. I think it might even be. I kind of feel like it's maybe the other way. Like I'm wondering, like how much of the, like the Chinese influence, like the Tencent money and those kinds of relationships, kind of like came from Camilla, and like that sort of, like I'm wondering, like if he's leaving to go to a Tencent or to go to, to like a Chinese-owned studio or something like that, because that's been happening a whole lot over the past few years. I know that's been some speculation, and that kind of like maybe seems like it might be something to do with it, but I'm sure either way. He's got until like the middle of October when he's leaving. We'll probably not hear anything until then, but I imagine very soon after we'll get some announcement on what he's doing next.
Okay.
Well, unless there's anything else, we'll move on to the hacks and leaks section of the news. This news broke today, if I'm not mistaken, the day we're recording this, that is. And that's that Sony, and like all of Sony apparently, has been hacked by some new group of hackers that's ransoming the data that they have stolen from Sony. And this is not the first time that Sony's been hacked in a big notable way, but I don't know if there's much detail about this yet and what they're gonna do or what anybody's gonna do. But if anybody else knows more about this than me, please jump in. But yeah, this is increasingly common, I guess we could say.
Yeah, well, we had that in Vegas, actually, where I just came from. MGM had a massive hack that basically shut down the casinos by
Really?
and large for a couple of weeks. I think they're
Whoa.
still recovering from the entire thing because they refused to pay a ransom, whereas reportedly another hotel chain did pay a ransom. It is speculated to be around $30 million in order to avoid the being shut down that MGM suffered. And yeah, it does seem to be just kind of like an increasing trend. And I believe I had read somewhere, I don't know who said it, whether it was Sony officially or not, but apparently it sounded like the data these hackers may not be anything significant, but they could be downplaying intentionally. Who knows what's going on? But still obviously concerning, I'm sure, for Sony
Right.
and their customers.
Yeah, it very well could be like a bomb threat sort of thing,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like you kind of have to take the risk seriously, but they don't actually have anything. I think like the one thing they showed screenshots of was like a PowerPoint slide and like a login page, So it's like anybody could take a screenshot of a login page. It's getting past the login page that's the hard part.
Yeah,
right?
and the
So-
PowerPoint, are these like files from the 90s? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one of those like carousels with the film strips in them. They're like, we have your information.
Oh my god.
But I don't know. It definitely is like, I think Capcom went through this recently as well, and Capcom did not play ball. And because of that, a bunch of this stuff was leaked, right? But I think that, if you just pay the ransom on these things, it's just inviting this to happen so much more. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so, if they don't pay them out and they don't get anything out of it, they're like, all right, well, fuck Sony. We're not going to try to hack them again because it's
Right.
clearly not going to work. So that seems like that's probably the play. I think what might come out of this, I think the scary thing is that they say they have user data and like customer data and stuff like that. And we know that this happened before in 2011. There was a big Sony hack, all of Amy, whatever, I forget her last name, but the executive at Sony Pictures, like all her emails were leaked and PSN was shut down for like a month. And there's a big data breach. So you'd also think that they would have beefed up their security after the 2011 breach. That's pretty surprising that they got hit again.
It's an arms race, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Well, another big unintentional data thing that happened. This happened right after we recorded our last episode. We've gotten a lot of leaks, if you want to call them that, from the Microsoft versus FTC trial. I said that backwards, but But now, apparently, in some of the trial exhibits that were uploaded to the court, some people have been able to pull out a ton of documents that probably weren't supposed to be there. It sounds like I haven't really paid attention to exactly how this happened, but it sounded like it was like in a small PDF. There were ways to access other documents, which can happen. When like you have emails and that sort of thing with attachments and all sorts of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, ton of stuff has come out related to Microsoft and Xbox's future plans, in particular, like a new version of their console, new controllers, when they're thinking about, doing a next generation and cloud-based gaming, and then of potential interest to, Nintendo fans that apparently, I mean, I don't know that this is as surprising as some people are acting like it is, that they have discussed in emails trying to purchase Nintendo and Valve. I feel like, how could they not at least discuss it, right? I think a lot of people are like putting a headline. I mean, if they seem so acquisition happy, but they kind of, it's framed in like an email by Phil Spencer, if I read correctly, as sort of like a goal, as like a big, the thing they really want, the like thing they want. If I went over anything quick, please, if there's anything y'all are excited to talk about.
The only thing I want to say to what like you just said is like, you don't know that it's like the headline about the whole, like, of course they want to like buy, like the whole buying Nintendo thing was discussed in an email. I think that low key speaks more to just like the state of games journalism and what we think a headline is, or like what game journalists think a headline is, or what makes a headline. And it's like the clickbaitiness of it all, because like they're not buying Nintendo, like at least not for, I mean, they're just not unless something horrific happens to Nintendo. And this honestly, probably the same for Valve. Like this is just not, it's silly. It's just a way to get people to click on something.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I think that this is something, because I mean, it's like in the email, they talk about wanting to buy Nintendo, so it's like, it definitely
they can say it. I can also say,
I would love
buying
to buy
a lotto ticket and I will be winning the lottery.
Well, I am the president of Nintendo, and everybody knows that.
You own Netflix, and we are getting a Legend of Zelda anime.
Yeah. I wrote it, directed it, and my dad is Nintendo. But no, it's I think that like I think where a lot of the clickbaitiness comes from is that this is clearly it, or at least the email reads to me like Phil being like, oh yeah, of course, like I would love to buy Nintendo, but here's why that is not a good idea right now. It's like he's talking to somebody who is all business guy, who is not a gamer, who is like, what I mean? Who like doesn't really, who's like, well, why wouldn't we just buy Nintendo? And he's like, well, it would be the thing of my career if we could do that. Right. But he's kind of like trying to not be like, hey, idiot, we can't buy Nintendo, but like say it in a way that, but what is a little spooky, I think, about this email is just like the idea of like, hey, we've got dudes on our board of directors that are slowly and steadily buying up shares of Nintendo, right? And it's like the whole idea, what does he say? I don't think a hostile takeover is a good idea right now. Like stuff like that is like a little spooky, right? I mean,
in the future.
Yeah, because I think if like, I think if Microsoft really, really wanted to, they could do a hostile takeover of Nintendo, right? Like Microsoft is like $1 trillion company like Apple or something like that, right? So they've got funds for that kind of thing. It's just wouldn't be, there's obviously way bigger fish to fry and way better things for them to do with their mountains of cash. But yeah, so I mean, that's where that was my takeaway from that email. Hey, Andre, what do you think about that? I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these emails at all.
Yeah, no, I think your assessment's pretty much right on from what I can tell. Like, initially I had that initial reaction, that it's more comical than anything. Does Microsoft want to get left out of the room again for trying to buy Nintendo, like happened in the early Xbox era? But yeah, I don't think it really amounts to much. And then there's the complication too, as well. Like, even it is in theory possible to buy Nintendo, and I want to stress, like, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything about that, but that being said, I'm gonna comment anyway. From my understanding, it's pretty difficult for a foreign company to buy Japanese-based ones as well, so it's an uphill battle the entire way, especially with Nintendo clearly not wanting to sell either. And I even looked into the that that shareholder who owns Nintendo shares, or I guess it's a company or portfolio. I don't fully know, but even that email's from 3 years ago, and I think even up to this point, they only own like 1.25% of Nintendo shares. So not really a super concerning amount at this point, which only makes that email even funnier now with how he's trying to appease seemingly this other individual. But yeah, the whole idea is just it is kind of a fun thing to contemplate in just how horrible it could be, like what if Microsoft did by Nintendo? That might suck, but it's not like a realistic fear at this point. But with Microsoft, I mean, it is a timely one with them buying Activision Blizzard, this massive corporation worth billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like, okay, well, it's not entirely out of the picture, so I can see why it definitely caught flame in the social media space, at least.
Totally. I mean, and Activision Blizzard, for the record, is valued higher than Nintendo as an overall company,
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's an absurd purchase when you think about it. Yeah.
The main difference there is Activision Blizzard King wanted to be bought. They didn't. They were looking for a buyer, right? Where Nintendo would never really want that, I think. But at least not now. I don't know. We'll see. Furukawa, it's still early, right? Like maybe he'll just totally
Nintendo loves to fail after succeeding.
Right? Maybe, I guess if something happens within Nintendo that they need a weird. Blizzard Activision is known for using PR stunts to just cover up their history of abuse. So something like that comes up with Nintendo. They're like, hey, someone buy us so we don't have to deal with this ourselves. Yeah. Any implications to the rest of this, all this leak though, beyond the whole Nintendo?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in here. Right? Yeah. I think you were right there, Andre, in talking about how this was 3 years ago. I think a lot of this stuff is old, and it's it was used as evidence in the Activision thing, right? A lot of the takeaways here, and maybe in just a second we could talk about the new Xbox console, because I do think that's interesting. But I think just as far as a takeaway from how Phil looks in these emails, I actually kind of came away with a bit more respect for Phil. Not that I didn't, I've always liked Phil, but I think it's there was an email he sent internally that was hey guys, Redfall was a bust. A lot of the games that we wanted to have come out this year didn't come out this year, and we're in a big fucking drought. We got to do better. It was just him owning up to the L's that that everybody's been talking about. It's not him trying to puff everybody up and do that kind of corporate, working around it sort of mentality that a lot of executives seem to do, that just leads to bigger and bigger issues. It seems like he's a realist. And so at least from a CEO perspective and somebody who's kind of leading the company, it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. So that was a good takeaway for me. But yeah, I don't know if you guys want to talk about this console, because that's kind of the other biggest news, I think, from this league.
I just bought my Xbox. I can't do another one already.
Well, did you get an S or an X?
Series S.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
I have no reason to go physical.
Yeah.
With that, because I don't own a previous one. That's my mentality was I bought it as a Game Pass machine. I'm just installing and uninstalling stuff on it.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely that's clearly what they want. It seems with the new Series X is not going to have a disk drive, 2 terabytes of storage. Seems like they're pretty ready for physical games to sort of be a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you guys think about that. Andre, do you play physical games still?
I can't remember the last time I bought a new physical game. I've been more into the retro space recently with the analog pockets. I've been picking up all kinds of old physical games. Mm-hmm. When it comes to new though, I'm 100% digital. Especially the older I get, the less I want to replay at least more recent game. More recent older games, and there's just so much to play. It's I don't know. It just doesn't concern me that much. So I get, I totally understand the arguments for preservation or being able to resell games, which, I think are valuable. For me personally, I just prefer having it all in one place. I don't have to worry about keeping track of where my games are, and it's just way simpler. So yeah, I'm 100% on the digital train.
Yeah, same here. It's also piracy exists, and it's all this stuff, whether or not, people talk about oh, games will go away and we won't be able to blah, 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 blah. But it's every new console that comes out is way more powerful than all the ones before it. And it's there's always going to be some sort of digital archive of like all the games that existed. So it's never really scared me that much,
Yeah,
like
no one had trouble playing NES and Super NES games before Virtual Console came out. Like that wasn't a concern for anyone. It wasn't hard to find them.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's interesting. I think for me, like for the last thing about this leak, and we can move on. We've been talking about Xbox for too long, but I think the new controller, I think, looks really nice, and I think for the main reason of that it seemingly is adding gyro to it and an accelerometer. That's like the one thing that makes me want to play games like on my Steam Deck as opposed to like on Xbox, even though I know it's going to run better on my Xbox than my Steam Deck, is because I want to be able to like aim with gyro, move the camera around with gyro, and you can just do that with any game on Steam Deck, right? So that's really exciting to me, and hopefully we could finally have like a new game comes out on like the Switch 2 and PS5 and Xbox, and it all has gyro controls on everything. Like that's the future I want to live in.
100%. Yeah, Splatoon really turned me into a
I
gyro
was just about to say, am I hearing that they're trying to get Splatoon on the new Xbox?
They just bought Nintendo, so yeah.
It's all tied together.
By the time you're listening to this, Microsoft has bought Nintendo, and you can
this
play
Wednesday.
Splatoon. The next Splatfest is actually Microsoft versus Sony versus Nintendo, because they're
they
all
should do that
under the same roof now.
Well, we're going to move on. We got one news item to close us out here, and that's that the Tokyo Game Show event just happened. I think this was the first one that was like fully back since the pandemic. I might be wrong about that. And I know, David, you said you didn't want to talk about Microsoft anymore, but one of the big things at Tokyo Game Show was an Xbox digital broadcast that they made. There was also like a Capcom showcase, and I'll be honest that with my busy weekend, I didn't really follow a lot of this. I don't think there was a lot of stuff that was for me. I don't know if anybody else paid close attention to the announcements or the event.
I didn't really see this either. And I didn't hear like too many like huge announcements from it. I think it was like a great game show for Yakuza fans who want the new, like there's like 2 new, I can't keep track with all the new Like a Dragon games that are coming out. Deca Police was shown off, and apparently that looks really good. But remember, ACAB, even Anime Cops. And I
No Astral Chain.
yeah, sorry, Astral Chain. That includes you. No, but so yeah, I don't know. I think it's looking all right, but yeah, I don't know if there was anything we should have been talking about. Please let us know in the comments. But it seemed like it was a bit slower of a presentation this year.
Yeah. Well, then, definitely let us know if we missed anything from Tokyo Game Show or anything else in the comments. And with that, we'll take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk F-Zero 99. All right, we are back. And this week, we are talking all about F-Zero 99, trying to give some tips and tricks, some suggestions for new players. Oh man, I'm loving this moment. F-Zero is having its moment, is what it feels like, right?
Thank God.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get into that in just a minute, but maybe we can just talk a little bit about the game or how how this past what it's now been like a week and a half or so. Is it even been that long? Yeah, 2 weeks.
No, that's about right.
Yeah, like what is time?
I've raced so many times. It's like I've been doing Grand Prix my whole life.
But yeah, I think it's interesting because there are a couple of people, yourself included, David, and another a friend of the show, Talking Sock, who's a big F-Zero fan, who were disappointed when this first got announced, and I was kind of blown away by all that, but I think it's because I'm a SNES F-Zero person. Like that's the one I grew up on. So didn't like bother me. In fact, was like, yes, this is for me. But I know a lot of people were kind of resistant at first, but have been converted, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think for me, and I'll just because I feel like you just threw me under the bus.
David was really pissed.
I'm going to quickly respond.
Pissed,
I was just happy to see the words F-Zero in the text, man. Like I'll take whatever I can get, I mean, it's been 20 years since we've had a game, right? I think for me, the reason that the SNES F-Zero has never been my favorite is, and it's always been my least favorite of all the games. And I think the main reason why is my first game was F-Zero X, right? And so like the idea of the risk reward of the energy meter being tied to the boost is integral to the F-Zero experience for me, right? So going back to the SNES F-Zero is really difficult because you just get like one boost lap, and it just like, or you get 3 over the. I'm not even exactly sure exactly how it works, but it doesn't feel nearly as like. It's like the energy meter doesn't even matter in SNES F-Zero, basically, right? And so what I love about this game is that they took SNES F-Zero and like made it feel like F-Zero X. It's got the boost energy mechanic. It's got the spinning to attack, which came from F-Zero X as well. And I think, I don't know, that to me has just made it, as soon as I realized that's what's going on in this game, and then, you know, having that kind of white knuckle, you know, racing, it was just, I was completely smitten. And yeah, it's probably the multiplayer game I've played the most this year, and it just came out a couple of weeks ago. So what about you, Andre? What do you think about this game?
Oh, I love this game. I mean, I grew up with original F-Zero as well. I played through the entire series except for 1 or 2 of the GBA games until recently. And yeah, this does such a great job of like encapsulating the entire series, like taking the boost mechanic, merging with the gameplay of the first one. Like even the rank out mechanic they have like is lifted from the first game, just on a grander scale now. And that's so ingenious how they did it. But then they pair all of that with new mechanics like the Skyway, which is such a smart way of handling this kind of rubber banding without making it feel as random and chaotic as Mario Kart, because it's still like skill based and it just feels more predictable, and I like that. Like, it doesn't feel cheap. You know, when someone like drops off a Skyway in front of me, I'm like, hey, you go, buddy, you did it. As opposed to like in Mario Kart where I get shot by a bullet bill, I'm like, you freaking jerk. Like, and this game's my new obsession. Like, up until recently, I might be spoiling, well, I'll be talking about it a little bit later, but I've been obsessed with Dead by Daylight, and this is the first game really, one of the only games really pull me away from that game, because I am obsessed with it. Like, I just have so much fun, even though I get my ass kicked. Can we swear here?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, good. Even when I'm getting destroyed out there, I'm having a blast, literally, when I'm blowing up. And it's just so fun. And I think it does come down to that risk versus reward mechanic you mentioned. Because it takes what X and GX did, but it really ramps even that up, where even in those games, like, you know, I've always loved the idea of the boost being your energy being your boost. And, you know, when you run out of energy, then you run the risk of blowing up. But even in those games, like, I just hammer boost constantly, because unless the CPU is like gunning for you, which they never do, like, you're probably safe unless you take a corner very poorly. But here, the opponents are actively gunning for you. They see you smoking, they're coming for you. So it really just ups the ante of everything, especially in a Grand Prix where you really want to nail that final race, but you also don't want to destroy your ranking either. So it is so well done, and it feels like I've never felt like this level of energy and adrenaline in a racing game before, which is saying something for a genre that's kind of known for that. And that's why I feel like the 99 branding almost sells this game short, because it is leagues beyond any other 99 or 35 games Nintendo's made, and I just love it. Like, it is so freaking good that I feel like anyone, I can't imagine being disappointed by this F-Zero entry specifically, because it's like everything I wanted, and kind of, or maybe not everything I wanted, but it's something I didn't know I wanted fully, and I'm blown away by it. So
yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week, but I think you're right. Like, I mean, I love all the 99 games. Tetris 99 is probably in my like top 3
that's a great
games
game
of all time. Yeah, it's like I've played that game probably more than any other game in the world. But it's like, but it's, people hear this and they're like, oh, okay, here's another 99 game, especially with like Pac-Man shutting down and Mario 35 being delisted and all that kind of stuff. Like, people, I think, like, their initial reaction was whatever. But if it was called F-Zero Death Race, you know, like, I think it would have, people immediately would have taken to it a lot better, like right off the bat, right? But anyway, Summer, what do you what's your experience been like with this game? And were you an F-Zero fan before this?
Not exactly. My exposure to F-Zero was Captain Falcon being Super Smash Brothers, and then purchasing. It was probably X on the Virtual Console, like on the Wii or the Wii U. I want to say it was the Wii, because I remember my sister would always be like, hey, remember when I bought that game for you and you played it once and you never played it again? And I was like, yeah, because it was fucking hard. I'd rather just play as Captain Falcon in Super Smash Brothers and not be like how I'm a fan of him. So I had a general awareness of it, but I did not have any ties to F-Zero beyond that. And knowing like all of the hype around wanting another F-Zero game, and we've been joking about, I know, or not, maybe half joking about, oh, they're going to give us a bounty hunting game. It's going to be made by the Yakuza devs. It's going to be amazing.
I hate when we make that joke.
I know, that's why we make it.
I know.
Is it's only, like I said, it's only half a joke. It would be amazing if that happened. So when this came on the Nintendo Direct, I was like, I thought it was simultaneous. Like I was enthralled. I thought it was hilarious that this was the F-Zero game that we got. And as soon as I saw 99, though, I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm so in. Yeah. I love the 99 format, and I'm always willing to try it out and see how it feels for me. And yes, we talked about this last week, but for me personally, it's my favorite of these Battle Royale games so far. Feels the best to me personally. I feel really rewarded playing this game without having to get first place. Like the fact that I can still finish races and then still be rewarded for it, I think is really, really smart, right? Because like in Tetris, like this is me. And as someone who always thought I was good at Tetris, like I don't think I've ever broken top 10 in Tetris 99. And it felt defeating after a while. I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, you like have to be really good at Tetris to do well in Tetris 99. I feel like you don't have to be like a racing aficionado to do good in this game.
And it was the opposite with Pac-Man 99 for me as well. Like it was really fun at first because I immediately figured it out. And then it got boring because I was constantly winning and nobody could beat me. And I was like, well, this sucks. Like there's no challenge here. Like those of us who know it have figured it out. And then it just becomes a stalemate when you do get into a room with somebody else.
Nice subtle Pac-Man 99 flex right there.
No, it's not true.
I watched
effortless to everybody. Yeah. That's why they're taking it down, because it was a failed, like, it didn't work. It's not long withstanding. This game, with F-Zero, I really feel like value in it as someone who doesn't. I think I've broken top 10 maybe twice, and it's only been during like the last like one or two races of Grand Prix, never in just a standalone race, right? And that's because of the way that works, right? Is like, well, there's only 20 racers, so statistically, it's more likely for me to break top 10. So, but like all of that being said, right? Like I don't feel defeated playing this because I don't ever win. Like I feel like a winner because I get to keep customizing my car and my little card.
and the fact that like if you like there is a fate worse than getting like 90th place, and that's dying, you know? So it's like not dying feels like a victory sometimes. Yeah.
Get 90th place though, because
I guess you're right.
The camp
80, 70, something in there, 60.
It depends on the race. Yeah.
Well, I think we want to jump to the tips and tricks, but real quickly, I did want to mention the different modes and kind of get y'all's opinion about them. So there's the base 99 mode, which if you just want a quick race. And then I like this about the game, that they are constantly every 15, 10, 20 minutes rotating these other modes options. It's really nice because if you don't like what it is, do a couple 99s and come right back. But there's the pro courses, which right now is only 2 more advanced courses, the team battles, which I really want to hear if y'all like that or not. And then the mini pre, which is 3 courses race, and then the Grand Prix, which is 5. And boy, that Grand Prix is tough. Like, at least for me, I'm not very good at this game, even though I love it. But yeah, what do y'all think about the different modes? Is there one is team battle interesting to y'all, or is that just like, eh?
It's probably my least favorite part of the game, which is to say I still have a blast with it, but I don't like actively go into it when it's on. It's fun. It's like fun for like a breather. Actually, I find that a little bit more relaxing. It's like, okay, I have a 50% chance of winning or losing, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
As opposed to the others. Yeah. Excuse me. But I love the whole rotation idea. I even the time limited Grand Prix is kind of genius. Like the whole thing makes the game feel more alive. It gives more weight to the Grand Prix when they do come up, which is never even that far away. The fact that you earn tickets for it really makes it feel like, oh, I should actually try here, you know, because I have this kind of limited resource for it. But it's balanced well enough that it's never frustrating. Like, you know, it doesn't take too long to get more tickets. You have to wait too long for the next Grand Prix. And I do hope that they do rotate in, you know, the potential of new modes like the data mined, you know, actual survival mode that could be possibly coming to the game, which would be really exciting. So I think almost everything about this game is well designed. Like even the cosmetics, as Summer mentioned, I believe, it's something I don't typically care about in games, but here I actually want them. I like it. I like that you can identify your racer out of a field of 100 others. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah, if I ever see anybody with a Port Town 2 background on their pilot thing, I'm like, how the fuck did you get? I can't get that time trial down to, whatever the time. It's so hard.
Trials. That's how you unlock some of those.
So,
yeah.
You're going to need some of our tips here.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, one of my tips is just do the time trial. So
just get good.
Yeah, basically.
Skill issue.
But but you're totally right. I think I love mini pre's because it's like less of a barrier to entry than the Grand Prix, and it still counts for your leaderboard score. And I think that's been one of the most fun things for me is like trying to like. I don't really give a shit about the overall leaderboards. Like, there's no way I'm not like a pro enough gamer to like crack, the whatever on that.
You also have a job.
It's like, yeah, I have a job. Like, you have to play like 100% of the time because it's called cumulative, right?
It's really
exactly.
Points, yeah.
But it's like, but that said, like I've had a ton of fun going back and forth with like friends list and like me and AVK, when we had like a back and forth and it was me and him like vying for the top and he ended up beating me by like 100 points and I was like because and I had to like take a phone call so I couldn't like play a Grand Prix. It was like, but that kind of stuff I love. I hope we get like a big block DLC like Tetris 99 got for this, with like more standard Grand Prix so you can just play with your friends or whatever. But I
playing
love
with friends is really my most desired thing.
I'm sure I bet you anything they'll do paid DLC and then with it they'll release a physical copy of this game with everything on it that comes with NSO like they did with Tetris 99. Like I would bet on it.
I didn't realize there was a physical Tetris 99 that had.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. It came with like a year of NSO and all the DLC and the base game. So I would expect that going forward.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, there's other stuff we could talk about generally, but I think we should get into the tips and tricks. And as arguably one of the worst people here, we had that debate earlier. I don't know that I am
fighting for who's worst.
You, Patrick.
Well, no, but it's true. I'm not offended to say that I love online multiplayer games and I'm not that great at them. I get better by playing them, right? Like,
exactly. That's how you get better at anything.
But I'm like, I usually start at a lower tier than other people before I get up high. So anyway, the point is I need these tips and tricks more than anybody, but maybe we can talk about just sort of basic handling of the vehicles. Cause I think you come into this and maybe you just want to hold the gas the whole time. And that's probably not the right thing to do. Right. Anything sort of just about basic handling we could start with?
Yeah, I can start off here. I mean, this is a game, even more so than most other F-Zeros, I'd say, especially the 3D ones. Like, yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the gas all the time in this case. Like, I'm letting off the gas constantly when going around those tighter corners, and you often want to pair that with, the sharper turns using the shoulder buttons. So yeah, like if in doubt, let go of gas. Like, that's going to help you a ton. In addition to that, or as part of that, like you also want to moderate how much you're boosting because you want to time when you're boosting because that can make cornering a lot harder as well. So it's generally not a great idea to be flying around those corners. You can bash into a wall, pinball yourself around potentially, which if that happens, by the way, just tap gas again or tap accelerate. It'll kind of straighten you out immediately. But in general, like moderating how much you're boosting is really important in this game because survival is arguably more important than winning. This is something I haven't even fully internalized myself yet. I'm always gunning for that first, but I'm always blowing up constantly too. So you really want to save, like in general, probably around a quarter to a third of your health, of your energy, especially on that last lap, because you don't want to lose it all in the final moment. So definitely hold back, on the boosting, especially if you're in a mini pre or Grand Prix, because it's more important just to finish rather than finishing, first, second, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a game that came out just recently to NSO, to the expansion pack, was Excitebike 64. And it's funny that just came out right before this because those are both games where you're kind of like half accelerating and half not, and then that's another one too, where if you're swerving through a big turn, let go and then press gas again, it straightens you out, right? So actually I feel like a lot of the muscle memory I got from playing that game again has been helping me out in this. I think as far as the corners are concerned, like you were talking about, something that I've found is it's definitely super helpful to let off of the gas as you're going around a corner. But in addition to that, I think like pumping the B button, like as you're going around and actually like kind of tapping it on and off gives you a little bit more control, especially if you're holding L and R, or if you kind of like alternate going between, like you're taking a, I guess if you're taking a right turn, you hold R and then kind of like tap it while you're also tapping B. That kind of is a great way.
Oh, tapping the shoulder buttons?
Kind of alternating between tapping the shoulder button and B, I found, especially with Fire Stingray, because Fire Stingray is like a super top speed, that's a top speed and it has really good grip. But if you're like tapping, which is kind of like basically like letting on the brake a little bit as you're going around, just think about it in like a turn in real life. It's like you're going to want to brake and then accelerate as you're kind of at the apex of the turn. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that is helpful here in this game as well.
Yeah, because there maybe are some turns you want to boost through, like if, rather than that it can help you kind of cruise through, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I'm talking about like tighter turns here. Like these are the ones where you're going to want to do that kind of tapping method a little bit more. I do think that if you can, especially coming out of a boost, like I was talking like in real life when you're driving a car and you kind of accelerate through the turn, doing your boost through the end of the turn is often a really great way to get ahead of a bunch of people, right? Because they're just trying not to spin out and like hit the wall. But if you can take that opportunity to like find your line as you're coming out of the turn and boost through it, granted you have enough to spare. Because when I first started playing this game, I was boosting out of every turn and then I would just die all the time, And so, but if you really kind of like pick your battles and figure which ones you want to boost out of, that's kind of the best way to do it.
If you like boosting, the Golden Fox is a really good vehicle. That's one I've gravitated toward, just because it regains its energy super quick, so you can kind of start boosting a lot more. But it is kind of like a glass cannon where he does, if someone rams into you, you take a significant amount of damage as well. So
yeah. I feel like Golden Fox is one of the only machines that you can boost through the recharge like pit through. You know what I mean? Like the rest of those, it's like, because that's what I used to always do in F-Zero X, is I would boost to the recharge thing. I'm like, I'm healing, so it doesn't matter. It's like you can't really do that in this game, like
especially if you get bumped out mid recharge, and then it takes time for the machine to come back down and start charging again. It just destroys the entire thing.
Yeah, it's crazy that you're in there for like a second before you start healing. It's so annoying.
Well, you can also slow down in the healing zone. That's not something that we've talked about yet. I don't. It's sort of situational, because very often you do that, you're going to lose some placement. But if you really need health, if you're super low or whatever, and not in the Golden Fox, because it's
if you're in a Grand Prix and you don't want to waste all the tickets you have and you're about to die, like maybe let off the gas when you're in the boosting or the healing zone, right? Just again, as far as letting off of the gas is concerned, something to keep in mind there is just like, it is so much more disadvantageous, I don't know if that's a word actually, to hit the wall than it is to not be pressing the gas. You know what I mean? Even if you're going through like snaky right angle turns and you're not pressing gas throughout all of that, like it's so much better to do that than to like slam into a wall, or at least like, or maybe drag into a wall, right? I think that one last little thing I'll say about like right-hand turns is like, I found this on silence when I've been playing the Grand Prix and getting to the last bit of silence, is there's that one area where it's like just like right angle turns like back and forth, right? And I've found the kind of best way to do that, especially if I'm in a car like Wild Goose, which has a lot more HP, is like go through that first, kind of totally take off the gas for the first one, then pull around and then boost into the side of the wall and purposefully ping pong off of it, to then go straight down the straightaway after that. So sometimes it's a little advantageous to do that as well. Like if it's a really, really sharp right angle turn, just like taking one on the nose and basically hitting the wall and then straightening yourself out by letting go of accelerate and going forward. And then you'll carry that boost through that straight at the end too. So that's my pro strat.
I'm gonna have to adopt that strat. So I'll use that to suggest something else you could possibly do in those like more curvy parts. Is that's a great time to use a Skyway if you have access to, if you've fully charged your spark meter.
This is helpful.
Yeah, it's often best not to use it immediately, because you can often save it for for a more twisty, turny, tricky part of the track. And where, especially because the Skyway, although it, often follows a track exactly, for those tighter areas, like it'll just skip you right past it. Like it'll just shoot in a straight line. And that's the best time to use it. Plus it gets you out of the action, gets you away from opponents, trying to ram into you as well. So it can be also used as like a get out jail free card. Like, especially if you're like running out of energy, coming up on the energy refill area. That's a great time to use it if you're afraid of being taken out, because you have it basically a dedicated exclusive lane for yourself. So yeah, just try to learn when the best places to use those use a Skyway is good technique.
Yeah, it won't drop you on turns. It'll kind of wait for straightaways. So like kind of knowing about how long it's gonna keep you up there based on the the position when you're actually using it is really helpful. And just being like, okay, if I do it a little bit earlier, it'll probably run out over a turn, so it'll then take you past it, right?
Yeah, you can like double the length out of it effectively sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
While I guess while we're talking about the Skyway, I always, it's just purely anecdotal. I don't think it's true, but I always feel like, it's somewhat true that you stay on the Skyway longer if you hit the boosts on the Skyway. And who's not trying to hit the boosts? But I feel like, the chance that you'll hit one right before your meter runs out and get to stay on a little longer, is key. So like trying to make sure you never miss those.
Yeah. It feels bad when you miss a boost on the Skyway.
It really does.
I hate when it activated and it pops you right like next to a boost.
Yeah. How was I supposed to do that? It's like when Waze tells you to like cut across 4 lanes of traffic to get to an exit.
God.
You're like, dude, what the hell, man?
To save like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But I do think that like because the Skyway is the same and the boost spots are the same, it's about memorizing it, right? Like it's just an overall tip, right? Like to go into practice mode because I have learned where some of those boosts that are on the side in the Skyway are, because they're often close to where I want to launch. So I'm like, I'm gonna hit right as hard as I can as soon as I go open the sky. So I get that one because there are a few that you can miss like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, we're just on Skyways now, so I'm just gonna give my last Skyway tip, which is, Andre, you're absolutely right in that you generally don't want to just use it right away. I do think that there are instances in which you would want to, like, let's say your health meter is pretty high up and you're on lap 4. You don't want to, let's say lap 4 starts and you have Skyway ready, go ahead and, punch that right away. Cause you don't want to like end the course on the Skyway when you have a full energy meter, because that's boost that you could have used.
Makes me feel awful when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
oh my God, rookie mistake.
In that instance, it's like, okay, let's use it now. Drop me off about halfway through the lap, and then I'll just boost through the rest of this, right? But the other way is like, because it's hard for me when I get it to be like, oh, I could be boosting right now, and I'm not, because I have the Skyway and I'm holding on to it.
Right.
I play a little game with myself where I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm practicing not using up my energy. I'm practicing restraint here, and like this whole lap is just an opportunity for me to fill up without having lost any health, right? So try to keep that in mind as a good excuse to not do it, and to kind of play little mind games with yourself. Sometimes it helps in this game.
Well, can we talk about the jumps for a minute? Because I feel really dumb that it took me as long as it did to realize that you can push up when you're in the air to get more air. And I mean, it even says that in one of the
that right now.
Even
saying it. So
I believe it's down. You press down to get more air.
Okay, yeah. You can go down by pushing up, or you can stay in the air long. Yeah.
It's inverted y-axis controls.
Yeah.
So it feels natural to say up, but you're right. Thank you for the correction. So you push
it's a yoke.
Directionally inverted so that you can either land quicker, which I don't think there's many times you want to do, but there could be, I suppose, if everybody's in the air or something. And
there are some times, especially in the starting area before you get to the thing, where if you don't hold up, you'll miss the boost after a jump. So it's like holding up to get your nose down to get to the ground quicker can get you to that boost sometimes faster. But yeah, sorry. I think you were going to talk about pulling back after jumps.
So also when you land, right? Like if you aren't, now I'm really in my head about whether you push up or down.
You push down to pull back. So it's like the rear of your car like hits the ground, and then you won't have like a little bump as you're coming off. And that'll help you like not lose speed.
I'm having that moment where like when you hand somebody your favorite video game and they're like, "What do the buttons do?" and you're like,
Yeah.
I just know. I just know. Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, I couldn't describe you the letters on the keyboard, but I know where they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything else about jumps or like I know there's a few places like on Whiteland where you can take a jump.
Yeah, that's a great one. And this will come more into play, I imagine, once we get the other later tracks too, like Queen and King Cups. But there are a couple points where you can like you can cut some corners significantly. Although I do believe you can't go crazy with it. Like in Port Town, you can, in theory, cut a big chunk of the track, but it resets you back to where you came from or something. So
no fun allowed.
Exactly, bingo. But otherwise, by and large, unless you're purposely trying to cheese the game, it'll let you do it. And again, that'll probably come into play later. But also, another good part of the jumps is that it instantly fills up your spin meter or your cooldown. So basically there's almost no reason not to spin right before a jump because you'll get it back immediately and you can do it again. And that's really useful like at the beginning of a race where you have the series of jumps typically in the starting area. Or Whiteland, for instance, where it has that series of jumps as well. Because the spin is extremely important. Like it took me a while to like internalize that. But the spin, like it keeps you safe. If you're in danger, just start spinning, whenever someone's approaching because it can save you. Or something I like to do is when there's a pack of racers, I like to boost through them as I'm spinning, and it kind of like breaks you through the pack. So
totally, yeah, and if as people are coming down in front of you too from jumps, if they're not pulling back off of the jump and they do hit the ground, they'll release golden sparks too, right? And it's the same off of skyways. As you're coming down off the skyway, if you're holding down, you won't do the little thing. But like, let's say I see this all the time where I'm pissed off somebody's coming down off the skyway in front of me, but it's like every time I get like 5 sparks because everybody forgets to hold down coming off the skyway.
I never think about that.
I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah, I just noticed that today in the Grand Prix when I was playing.
So good.
Actually,
this game is so good.
Yeah, it's a lot of hidden shit I'm discovering all the time in this game.
Well, something that Andre just said that I'm curious about is like, like if you're in the middle of that pack, what is y'all's strategy? Are you of the mind that I need to like boost and spin and get ahead, or are you kind of like I need to cut over to the side or hang back and get sparks, or is it situational? Because I'm kind of curious about either how you stay out in front or how you catch up to the front. Because that's where I'm really struggling, I feel like.
It's double-edged, right? Because like, especially let's say, I mean, so much of the important part is making sure you nail the opening, right? It's like use L&R a lot and keep your lines straight. Don't actually turn as much as you can. That'll keep, actually turning will send you further back, right? People that just go straight are doing better in the opening area, right? Make sure you hit all the boosts, whatever. And then once you're out in front, especially with something like Golden Fox, like that's the best place you want to be with that car is like always in first place, right? Now somebody like Wild Goose, which really I'm only going to mainly be talking about these 2 cars because they're the 2 main ones that I play with, but it's like Wild Goose like can take a lot of damage. So being in the middle of that pack is not a bad way to start the race because then you're getting gold sparks like immediately. You know what I mean? But like, let's say you are Golden Fox and you do find yourself in the middle of that pack. I think it's sometimes advantageous to try to get off to the side, get away from the pack. And then once you get your boost after the beginning, kind of like boost around everybody. Yeah, you won't be getting as many gold sparks, but that's at least you're not getting like the shit pummeled out of you at the very start of the race, which can put you behind quite a bit for the rest of it.
Yeah, I feel like it's something you just mostly kind of get a feel for over time, whether like you should be gunning it for first or you're holding back and trying to get those sparks. I mean, for me, I guess like my general strategy, I would say like if I can't see first place, I'm focusing on the sparks then. That's going to be my best bet at getting back up there is getting under the skyway and hopping down somewhere closer. Then I can focus on boosting and try to close the gap or, fully catch up. Because something else to remember too that can be easy easy to forget is that first place has to contend with all kinds of hazards that you don't. And that's going to slow them down. Like, even if they're not getting hit by the red cars, they have to dodge around them, or the gray cars, the bumpers or whatever, or all the lucky bumpers. And that's another great, another reason why this game's so great. Like, it just organically slows down first place, then as compared to like blue shells in Mario Kart. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind too, is like first place is naturally going to be slowed down in most cases. And so that will buy you more time as well.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have this problem, especially when I play with the Golden Fox, where anytime I get close to the front, I just get a little too aggressive because I want to stay there. And then either a red car gets me or something. And then, I am lucky bumper gunning for the first place person, like just to mess with them as much as I can. And
Lucky bumper is genius. It's so good.
Yeah, it is really nice.
It's like the final screw you to the world.
Yeah. Oh man, when you're Lucky Bumper and you get like 120 points or something, and you've just been ruining everybody's day, like it feels so good.
I ran into this poor person who, like, I don't know what their health was at before, but like I ran into like 6 times in a row and they instantly exploded. I'm like, oh, they might hate me right now.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
They unsubbed from GameXplain.
Probably. I don't even blame them. I respect them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we could talk about the red and gray bumpers whenever you're in first, right? Because that is harrowing, right? And I think avoiding red at all cost is pretty much the name of the game.
Yep.
I think when you're in first, don't panic. That's kind of like an overall thing, and I'll get to that in a second. But it's like, you want to kind of keep your composure and really just try to avoid red, right?
Is it better to avoid them than to spin into them?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to save, I think, for twofold. I think when you're in first, spinning is a hugely advantageous defensive move, right? Like if someone's coming up behind you, remember, like if you get bumped in the back, and they say this in the tutorial, if you get bumped in the butt in this game, you get a little speed boost, right? So it's like you go faster if someone hits you from behind. It's not a big deal. But if you're spinning, then you still get that speed boost. They go further back and you don't take any damage, right? So having that is really important. And I think another thing, and this is kind of like my pro tip here, and this is, I actually saw a YouTube video on this recently, and I was like, holy shit. And I started doing this in Grand Prix, is gray bumpers. I used to hate those things. Now I'm like on the prowl for them, dude. Like I'm always gray bumper hunting. Yeah, because you get KOs for killing gray bumpers. It doesn't refill your health meter, but it does make your health meter longer.
Okay.
So if you can kill like 2 or 3 gray bumpers in the first 2 races of a Grand Prix, those hold over for the rest of the Grand Prix, and you have a much bigger health bar that starts at full
between races. And
yeah.
Okay.
So it's like if you see, especially if you see a flashing gray bumper, aim for it, try to kill it, and you don't have to spin into it either. You can just ram into it, and it'll kill them with one hit if they're flashing, right? So it's like boost into it is actually probably ideal, because then you're not losing too much time when you hit it because you're already going fast. So definitely don't be afraid to bump into those guys. I think it's like 4 bumps. If they're at 100 HP, if you hit them 4 times, they die. So like sometimes it's advantageous to just take the L on an early race in a Grand Prix and just kind of focus on getting your health meter up.
As long as you can still get, before 80th and
right, exactly. Yeah. That's my tip with those guys.
Which I think KOs, right? Like I think that's just especially in Grand Prix, but even just I feel like it's luck. You can't always get a smoking machine right in front of you, but you can take advantage of it if there is one. And that makes a big difference. I feel like the times I have yet to come in first, but anytime I've come in really high, or maybe not anytime, but often it's because I got a good KO near the end that refilled my meter, and then I could boost.
Yeah. If you've got like half, like let's say you've got half a lap left on the last lap and you've already got the red flashing thing, it's like, hey idiot, you're about to die. Like, just pray to God and start spinning and just hope that you can get somebody, because it's like if you can and you're coming in, then all of a sudden you've got a clutch full health bar that you can then boost through to the end with, right? And you're probably going to just get tapped and die anyway if you're at that point, right? So yeah, KOs are super important for that purpose.
And kind of related to it, it may be obvious, but if you see I didn't fully realize this myself, but even though you start smoking, like your vehicle starts smoking relatively early, but it doesn't necessarily show up that way to opponents. They will only see you smoking when you're like on the verge of death. Meaning, when you see someone smoking, like that means they're like one tap will take them out. So that confused me at first. I'm like, oh, I think I have some energy left, But I thought, when I started smoking, I'm like, I have a decent amount of energy still. But that's not the case. Like it actually conceals that until they're nearly dead, and then that's when they start smoking on your screen.
That's good to know.
That's very good to know, because sometimes I drive a little more conservatively when I have the early smoke.
Right.
And I don't need to maybe do that, though you do, but for a different reason, right? Or you need to, good to know.
Yeah. As far as that's concerned, just when we're talking about like the lower side of the health bar, I think with different cars, it means different things, right? I think with like something like Wild Goose, when you're getting really low, you really don't want to be using your boost like that, right? But with Golden Fox, it's like I've found when you're at that point and you're coming in towards a lap turnover, when the healing strip is like in front of you, go ahead and use the last little bit of your energy to get to that point. And then right as you're at the bottom, that's when you do a spin, like right before you hit the strip, right? Because that way you're going to be like protecting yourself in that last possible moment. And I've gotten through so many like close calls that way, and it's gotten me like victories sometimes by doing that. So I think that's really important.
You have a note on here that I'm not familiar with. It says, don't, while we're talking about blowing up and smoking and all that, don't drive over the craters left by dead racers. Is that, I didn't know that. Is that a...
Yeah, I only found that out today as well. That first of all, I love in this game that they adorably like put the name of the person by.
It's like a little tombstone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like here lies whatever. Right. But those have the same effect as rough ground, right? Like, so it's like if you see those, like try to avoid them because they will slow you down as you're going. Yeah.
Does that cause you to drop sparks too? Do you know? Or
that's a good question. I actually don't know. It's hard to kind of tell when you're dropping sparks.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I have to be on the lookout for that. I'd imagine so. Does driving over rough patches make you drop sparks?
I have no idea. Now I'm thinking about everything. Like, do you drop sparks when you lose energy? Is that what causes it? Like, I don't even know.
I think it's just like collision
damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's
it's got to be machine on machine.
Yeah. Maybe the sparks are like chipped paint or something, right? Like that's kind of like what the idea is. And if it's like on the undercarriage of the vehicle, that doesn't count. I don't know. I'm thinking way too much about the canon of this world and how the cars work.
It's such a simple game with so much depth. It's it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. I have a couple other ones, unless anybody wants to jump in. Just as far as like practicing, I think good things to do. Obviously, we've got a whole practice mode, right, where you can play by yourself, do a time trial mode. Just learn the stages, right? Like learn, like that boosting into the wall thing on silence and going forward. I only learned that because I was trying to get the pilot card background and get the unlock for that on the time trial, right? So little things like that will really, and obviously when you have a million people around, it's going to change some of your strats, but just like getting a good feel for like the best racing lines and stuff like that on a stage is super important. And it's nice that they give you unlocks for those time trial things. And you get a different one for each car, and then you can race against your own ghosts. So it's a pretty robust time trial mode. And I'd say another great way to practice, like, let's say you have been like, oh, I've played with like the Blue Falcon this whole time, and I really want to try out this other car, and I want to try out this strat, like of using my boost a lot with the Golden Fox or something. Like that's what F-Zero 99 mode is for. Like there are no stakes in F-Zero 99. Like the points don't count towards your leaderboard. Like it's just, even if you die, you're still getting stuff accruing up tickets or whatever, right? So it's like just go balls to the wall basically on F-Zero 99 mode when you're trying to learn new cars, and like don't be afraid to like fail miserably, because that's the mode that you want to do it in. You want to play a lot more safe when you're in a mini pre or a grand prix, but in F-Zero 99 mode, that's where you want to really be taking all your risks, I think. And then I guess my last one here is just like try your best not to panic. Like I think this is something that I learned in Tetris 99 and Mario Brothers 35, which every day I mourn the loss of. My beautiful baby boy was slaughtered in front of me, and I cry myself to sleep every night. But in those games, when you're like down to the wire and you're like the last one, your heart is going like 1,000,000 miles a minute and your hands are sweating and all this kind of stuff. It's like I've gotten really good in Tetris 99 at when I'm up at the top, just like saying a little mantra to myself and not letting like anything get to me. And I really try to do the same in this as well. Like when you're in first place, like the pressure's on, man. But if you just kind of like, you're like, oh, I could avoid that red guy. It's not a big deal. Just kind of like talk yourself through it. I think like as long as you keep your cool, like when you don't keep your cool and you start boosting, that's when you start bouncing around like a goddamn ping pong ball,
This is the tip for me, I think, because I think every time I get close to winning or being if I'm at all in the top 5 or so near the end, I die because I panic and make a mistake. Yep. I mean, in this game, you can't make a mistake in this game if you want to win, right? I mean, or maybe you can if it's early and you get lucky, but like it really is a punishing game. You you bump into a red car and 30 people pass you by. So yeah, I think staying calm at the end, I need to work on that because I get to the end and I'm doing all right. I get that adrenaline rush and boost, boom. We haven't talked about one important tip, which is like starting the race of like getting they call it the super boost when you go into the skyway, right?
Right.
And then I don't know if they have a term for this in the game. I feel like they do, but I can't think of what it is. I don't know. No,
I don't think so. There are instruction cards for it, I believe.
Forgetting,
but I just call it boost start. That's what I call it. So
there you go. That's the term. So how do you get the boost start in this game? And is it all or nothing?
Yeah, as far as I know, based on my testing, you ideally, I think with every vehicle, you just want the most consistent way of doing it is just to hit gas a moment before it says go. That's the best chance to get. Now, the thing is, what's a little confusing about this one is you actually start off the line a little slower than those who are holding gas the entire time. The problem is they burn out immediately after and they actually slow themselves down, whereas you'll reach your top speed quicker. So it's best to hold off on gas until just before go, and then that's the best chance you'll have at accelerating to your top speed quickest. But I think the timing, I think some vehicles have a bigger window. Like I think the Fire Stingray, for instance, has a larger window in which you can press it. But as long as you're doing it, I think before go, in my experience, that seems to work consistently.
Nice.
Yeah, same. For a while, I was doing it like just after the third ellipses or whatever. But I didn't see any appreciable difference between doing the two. So I just try to like wait as long as possible, basically.
It does feel like as long as possible. Right before go.
When I was streaming this game too, it's like having a little bit of that lag like on the monitor and whatever, like made it to where I was pressing it earlier, like after the third ellipses, but then it was like not right. And so now I'm just like, okay, just right before go is what I'm going to do it always. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I was doing some testing with it just to see like how long it took me to reach an area, and I think with the Fire Stingray, like it mattered a little less, but in general, just before go is the safest way. So,
yeah, maybe we should talk about the vehicles. You're talking about the different vehicles and differences. What's the suggestion for somebody that's never played F-Zero, or what is y'all opinions? I'm not sure how I feel like. I think there's a lot of good options, honestly. Like, probably not the Fire Stingray for a new player, right?
I can't get good with that fucking thing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I always die or get like 60th place. Like I'm not. It's not for me. Like
now I want to get good at it. Just to
I feel like it was the best in the SNES game but it's hard with 99 players bumping into you because
would slow you down.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's the pro level one.
Yeah, going back to SNES, there's like no one on the roads. Dude.
Yeah,
it's
like
wide
open. You could just use that one, right? But that's you've talked about it a lot, Andre. Do you use the Fire Stingray a lot?
No, the ones I use the most are initially the Blue Falcon, and then I switched over to Golden Fox. I can't really speak too much to Wild Goose or Fire Stingray. I just haven't used them nearly as much. But I think Blue Falcon's like generally good for beginners. Like it's kind of all around, fine. But if you do like boosting or like kind of like living on the precipice of disaster, then Golden Fox is for you. So, but I'm out there like I've won quite a few races, but I've also blown up probably more than most people. So
yeah. That's what the 99 mode is for, man. Experimenting with that stuff. Yeah. I think Golden Fox is the most fun to play as, because you can use your boost much more because you heal so quickly in the lane. I think that's the current meta, right? Is like
I think
Golden
it's winning
Fox.
most of the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like getting ahead at the very beginning and then holding your lead by not turning too much, using LNR to like do slight, keep your line and whatever, and try to go as straight as possible and boost around like every turn that you can, and then heal as soon as you are out of energy, right? Like that's kind of the current meta, I think, with the game. But I mean, I think I get the most consistent wins with Wild Goose. I think it's because he's got the most HP, and he takes much less damage on impact from other people. You just have to be a lot smarter about when you use your boost. You can't get greedy with them. And also, Golden Fox has a much higher acceleration. Mm-hmm. Wild Goose has a pretty good acceleration and has a better than average top speed. Like it's a better top speed than the only top speed that it's less than is Fire Stingray, right? And so the trade-offs are much, much better to go with Wild Goose, I think, than Fire Stingray, because you've got a comparable top speed while being able to survive like much better. And it's just like a battering ram when you're trying to go like
it's a tank.
Bumper hunting. Yeah.
Well, I think we're nearing the end. What are we missing? What do we want to make sure and say?
Yeah, I have two last ones, unless anybody has any other ones. But one I found, and like I've actually been like called out as a cheater because of this one.
Called out,
and I think that's bullshit. I do not think that I think this is using the game smartly, but a way that you can kind of scum Grand Prix a little bit or mini Prix is wait until the literal last second to jump into a Grand Prix, right? Because most people are already in Grand Prix or they started one already. So oftentimes if you wait and it's counting down, wait until it literally says 1 and press A as it says 1, and then it'll fill up with like 30 racers or something, and the rest will be bots.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So it's like it's a good way. Honestly, it's a good way to practice, because it's like bots are not as good as human racers in this game. Like if you'll know from the tutorial, like I breezed through the tutorial, but if you're playing against 30 racers or something, that's a pretty good way, as long as you're not killing yourself by boosting too much, to make it to the end.
Is the point payout the same, even though it's all bots?
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. So that's
the
like
only thing I could think of that would be like, but I guess it's like not your fault. They couldn't find enough racers.
Yeah, it doesn't always work that way. Like sometimes it'll just slot you in as like one of the last of 99 in a room that's already exists. But like about half of the time when you wait until the last second, that room will not get more than 30 people in it, and the rest are bots. And then it's a lot easier to place high and do good practice on a Grand Prix.
I gotta ask, in what circles? Who
called you a cheater?
Did you say this, and who called you a cheater?
My chat when I was streaming, they're like, "You're a fucking cheater."
I love it. The chat turned against you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, "All right, good fuckers. Like you win a Grand Prix. I'm number one on my friends list. Whatever."
How did you know there were bots? Was it just because it filled them all up at the same time?
Yeah, because it'll basically have like 30 in the room, right? And then it'll stay there and it'll count all the way down to 0. But nobody can join because the Grand Prix is over, right? So then all at the very end, after it goes to 0, 70 cars all come in at once, and that's how you know they're bots. Yeah.
But there's no way to differentiate them mid-race, right? Like they all have like fake names and whatever. Like do they look like human opponents? Or
bots always have like full first names. They never have like characters or numbers in them or whatever. Right. It's just like Ronaldo or something, it's like whatever, right?
It's like when you're playing Switch Sports and you think you're playing online because it's the first time you played volleyball or whatever, and it's like, and then you realize, no,
man.
Fortnite's got the same thing. Like half the most games are like bots too, and I'm like, is that a bot or a person? Should I be trying now or should I not? And I die, and I'm like, I should have tried there.
Yeah, they're not called like dad with 3 smileys after it or something, right? Like that's how you know it's a bot. And then my last tip is a little cheeky here. This is actually a tip for streamers and people that are putting gameplay up on YouTube. And it's just check your bit rate, because this F-Zero 99 does not play well with YouTube compression. I've noticed, like, especially if you're like behind. It's like I love watching like Grand Pooh Bear. And I've watched some of your streams, Andre, as well. And like, and yours have actually been all right. I'm not just saying that because you're on my show right now, but it's like Northern Lion is one of my favorite streamers. And every time he plays, like his face will just become this like gargled mess. You know, like if you're in 70th place or something, all the cars moving around the stream just kills the bit rate. So if you're going to be streaming this game, that would be my tip: is make sure your bit rate is up as high as it can go. Otherwise, people are going to be having a bad time trying to watch this thing.
Yeah, I cranked it up to a point where YouTube complains about in the back end. It's like, your bitrate's too high. I'm like, well, you're using it and it looks better, so I'm going to stick with it.
Exactly. So that would be my last tip and trick.
Well, maybe we just very briefly talk about the future of the game, what we might hope for, what we might expect based on the data mining that you mentioned earlier, Andre. Like, there are a couple of data miners we talk about a lot, Oatmeal Dome and Luigi Blood, both kind of talked about. I think you mentioned the survival mode. Is that right? That is in the code for this game, which may or may not come. What do you think that means? He said it was just like, is that the one he said it was just a big open area?
The image I was data mined with it was like just a giant circle, I believe. So that could be the arena. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. Like, I'm just picturing like some massive like bumper car, arena, and
whoa,
that's it. But
that would be fun if it was like a battle, like Mario Kart battle, just like last person to survive, Twisted Metal style kind of, or something. If that's what it was, but
that'd be great. Yeah, especially if you can like bump people like off it into the abyss or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think also just like a good old fashioned death race with 99 people would be really cool too, right?
Yeah, like F-Zero X.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean like unlimited, just until somebody's dead or something, no healing kind of a thing?
It's no laps. It just goes until there's one person left.
Until
that's what Death Race was on F-Zero X, and it was a blast. And sometimes it would be like 30 minutes long.
The other mode that they found was arcade mode, which they said has a timer and time gates, which I don't know what that means exactly, but I guess maybe that could be an offline mode or something, maybe.
Yeah, but arcade, when I think of arcade, I typically think single player, and I think the time gates would refer to like, the checkpoints or racing games that give you more time, add to the timer. So it's probably, my assumption to be that like you are on a strict clock that's always counting down, and you have to just keep replenishing it or try to by racing well.
Totally. Yeah, that would be a good mode to allow friend code multiplayer in.
Totally,
right?
Yeah.
Like just to have, I think like Tetris 99 kind of did that too, where it's like they just gave us regular marathon mode if you bought the DLC, which is just standard ass Tetris. Like if they could do that and just let us just race like it's 6 racers or whatever with your friends, like just having that as an option would be really, really great.
It would be.
And then lastly, there was some references to either new tracks and or Satellaview tracks in the code that were found by one of the data miners. So man, that would be super awesome if they added both Satellaview tracks, new tracks. I'll take whatever. Doesn't look like there's slots for them in the way they have the UI set up right now, but who knows? They could do whatever they want.
It's weird how the UI is, especially in like the unlockable screens, because like there's one there that's like race on all 15 tracks, but then also there aren't ones for get the time trial score on this track that doesn't exist. So we know that there will be things added to that aren't in there currently, right? So I think that stuff is totally on the table. Those will probably come as like updates, and so I think they could totally overhaul the UI. I think the BS Grand Prix tracks or whatever are pretty much a given. It would be really stupid for them not to add those. But I said the same thing about Mario 99. But
yeah, I mean, if there's a stupid decision, Nintendo might make it.
Yeah.
It's, no, that would be amazing. Like, I think one of the cool things I think about like NSO as a possibility of bringing over these things that we've never been able to play if you didn't live in Japan. We've had a couple, or Star Fox 2 was on there and that was never released. Period. They translated Fire Emblem for the 30th anniversary, not on NSO, but in general. And this would be such an amazing opportunity to get people, even people in Japan, because if you didn't have the Satella view, there was no way to play that content again, especially once it went offline. So it'd be such a fun way of like giving new life to this content that most of us had never even seen before. And I think it includes like there's new cars, new tracks, new music, so that'd be really fun.
Totally. And hopefully we play our cards right, we'll get that Japanese announcer like saying everything we do as we go around.
Yes.
They'll get the actual broadcast from the 90s.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Cosmetically, I hope they add like the drivers that you can put on your little cards and stuff too.
Shut up.
Oh yeah.
Shut up. Oh my God. Oh, that
I don't know that they will. That'd be cool.
No, it would. More
What if you
cosmetic options, I'm in.
Yeah.
God, if I have to pay for it, like, I'll still do it.
Dude, I'll buy this game. I've gotten so much time out of this game that I got for free.
Yeah, I'm happy to pay for fun, cute looking things and games I like.
Like create a pilot, you can create your own pilot or something.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Very good.
Or new cars or new vehicles, like would be cool too, either from the other games or brand, whatever. Anyway,
I mean, if they start dipping into like Game Boy Advance, we've got like a ton.
I think 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. I mean, the third game had a lot of like repeat tracks and stuff like that. But even if it's just GP Legend and Maximum Velocity, like that's a lot more cups that we can do. And I'm like not even really tired of this first cup that we've been playing with, and we've got 2 more coming. So it's like this game, if they wanted to, this game could go on for a very long time.
Something else that would be fun is like how F-Zero X had a Rainbow Road stage from Mario Kart 64. They could do that here too, bring in the Super NES Rainbow Road. And
Yes, dude. They should just bring in all the Mario Kart tracks.
that'd be so good.
Can't wait to play Sky Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
My favorite F-Zero track.
all right, that means it's time for us to stop talking.
Yeah, we
about
jumped the shark.
F-Zero.
Yeah.
If you're out there and there's a tip or trick or something you've discovered in this game that we didn't mention, definitely ping us, leave a comment, and we'll shout you out. And with that, we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the other games that we've been playing recently. Other than F-Zero 99, I really haven't played a lot of games this week, but I did get to go to that Games Y'all event and get to play some local Austin indie devs games. And I just want to mention a few of the ones that I liked and want to shout out. There was a game right next to me called Cute Patoots, and I just love that name. It was a platformer, it felt kind of like Kirby meets Mega Man, kind of floaty and double jumpy, but projectile based. I don't really like puzzle games very much, but there was this game called AI Hero where you could use touchscreen to move around lines and dots to kind of section off areas of the screen, and it really hooked me. I'm not a big like strategy tactical grid based game, but there's a web based game that you can go out and play right now on the web called Tactical Battle Fights. It's got sort of an 8-bit look to it, and it was pretty challenging, but I enjoyed the aesthetic of it a lot. So if you like that, you can play that one. And then lastly, this is the one that probably has the most big term power. I saw it at San Japan too, though it wasn't the actual devs that had it at San Japan. It was like a San Antonio indie group showing off various games. It's called Nimrods. Very polished looking game that I think would be surprised if it doesn't do okay. It's kind of like Vampire Survivor, but meets like a bullet heaven game or something. Like you just can keep unlocking and crafting weapons, and enemies are creeping on you that don't shoot at you, but you are just shooting at them. And it's pretty fun. So yeah, those are some of the games that I got to play at Games Y'all. And then other than that, just been playing F-Zero 99.
Nice.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I also been playing F-Zero 99. Doing a bit more. I'm back on my fitness boxing kick. Been trying to get
Hey.
some gains. And then been playing a little bit more. I did a stream the other day, and I played Logiart Grimoire, which we talked about before on the show. That's a Picross adjacent game by Jupiter. I'm a huge slut for Picross, and it's really nice to be playing a Jupiter created Picross game on my Steam Deck and like on Steam. They finally added like controller support to the game. Like for a while it was mouse only, and ever since they've added controller support, like I've put in like 5 hours into this game. I'm just doing like hundreds of puzzles. So I'm having a ton of fun with that. It's got a really cool like fusion mechanic. But the last game I want to talk about here is Bit Trip Rerunner. I love this game so much. It's awesome. If you haven't played the Bit Trip games before, you know, they were originally WiiWare games back in the day. There were 6 of them, and they're all on the Switch now, and they're all really, really worth playing. But by far, the one that took off the most and was the most popular was Bit Trip Runner, which was like one of the very early like auto runner games that was kind of like rhythm based and all about kind of dodging and reflecting projectiles and stuff like that, like as you're running through to these like really cool like chiptune beats. And this is like a total remake of the game that they've done with like a brand new graphics engine. And then also it's got a runner maker mode. So it's basically they've put in Mario Maker into Bit Trip Runner, and you can make your own levels and you can play user created levels as you go. They've also like made little like 3 stage, they call them EPs, that are made with the music from the other Bit Trip series games. So as somebody who's played all of these games like over and over again, getting to play brand new Bit Trip Runner levels with music from the other games is just a total delight. It's totally filling me with joy every time I put it on. It's so nostalgic. I've been really enjoying that quite a bit.
Speaking of Mario, is Charles Martinet still the narrator for the?
Oh, that's his. I don't think so. They brought him in for Bit Trip Runner 2, and I haven't found him yet. But maybe he's an Easter egg in this. I'll see. People have been like remaking the like Runner 2 and Runner 3 levels. If those are in there, because there's a lot of bonus content in here, and it's like really a love letter to the fans, this whole package. So I would not be surprised if we get a Martinet reference in there.
Not doing Mario games.
Yeah.
Doesn't
No,
mean he
Nintendo
can't.
is like, you better not do any other games.
The drama.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'd love to get him on the show sometime. But Summer, what about you? What have you been playing?
Mostly just again bouncing between. I'll play F-Zero 99 until I'm like, okay, I got to put this down. I'm gonna go play Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3. And for the record, I am still in Act 1. I really thought I was done exploring, and that turns out I was just done exploring topside, and found that there's this whole Underdark area. This isn't spoilers. If you haven't found the Underdark, you need to keep playing until you find the Underdark. This is advice. This is not spoilers. And I thought I was done exploring the Underdark, and suddenly there was a boat, and then I took it, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff, and this is still Act 1. I'm like, what is going on? And I also just want to do a shout out to all of the people out there that are like, I want Asterion to love me, but he keeps rejecting my advances. And those people must be playing like just seriously like majorly goody two shoes in this game. And I'm like, if you're majorly goody two shoes, then I don't know why you want to be with Asterion either.
Yeah, he's a bad boy. Yeah.
I'm playing. He's a damaged boy. Like, but we can do that episode another time. I'm just playing the way that I think is like, I'm not playing like good all the time, but like I'm playing good, what's good to me. And like,
Right.
I'm not being bad. I'm just doing like what makes sense to get certain jobs done. And he will love certain decisions I make. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything bad. Like, how are other people playing this that they're pissing him off? You guys are, I'm not going to use, no, y'all are silly. We'll use that word. Y'all are silly. But that being said, Karlach is one hell of a woman. And that's what this ongoing battle is. I can't wait to see what those two have in store for me in Act 2, which I will get to probably in a month at this rate.
Yeah, very good. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I am so intrigued.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I really want you to do an episode on this now.
Yeah, when it comes to the Switch 2 in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Andre, what about you? What have you been playing recently?
Yeah, like the rest of you, F-Zero 99's been the most recent obsession. But before that, or concurrently, when I'm not playing F-Zero, I've been hooked, which is a pun if you played the game, on Dead by Daylight. It's an asymmetrical 4 versus 1 horror-based game where one person's a killer, there's 4 survivors, and you're trying to escape. And I like being a survivor myself. I just love the thrill of being chased and trying to escape and trying to get out of here. And it's just super addictive. Like, it's simple on the surface, ridiculously deep though. Like, I just started in December of last year and I have 1,200 hours already, and I'm still learning new things constantly about this game. There's just so much to it. I love it. It's super fun. And yeah, it's pretty much all I was playing until F-Zero 99 came into my life.
That's great, man. Yeah, I've heard that game is very addicting. I've had a couple games like that in my past as well that I've fortunately been able to get over.
Well, that's going to do it then for this episode on F-Zero 99. Andre, thank you so much for coming on and joining us this week. And thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, most places I am PDYX.
You can find me at most places at Weebwitched.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Andre? Where can people find you online?
Yeah, well, you can find me on GameXplain, of course, our YouTube channel, where we cover all kinds of Nintendo games. We cover all kinds of games, but largely focused on Nintendo. Or you can follow me personally at André Segers on most of the social media, like Twitter or X, Instagram, maybe.
I'd love to call it Twitter.
I'll call it Twitter until the day I die.
Yeah.
And Threads, I guess. I don't know. I'm places. X is my main one, so.
Very good. Yeah, shoot Andre a follow, especially if you like all the F-Zero 99 talk. A lot of great content coming out of there. And just as a quick personal aside, I just want to thank you once again for coming on the show, Andre. I've been a huge fan of GameXplain for, I don't know, you guys have been doing stuff for like 10 years or something, right? Like
13.
13. Yeah, I've been watching you guys for a long ass time. You guys always do really great content. So appreciate you coming out on the show with the little guys. That means a lot to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much.
Of course. And I'm going to take that as you coming back again next week. But, no, I'm just kidding. No, and if you'd like to find our show on social media, folks, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheads.com. And then, of course, we got a Facebook group and a Discord. We'll have links to those in the description of this episode. We'd love if you guys would join the Discord. We have such a good time in there. Such a wonderful, non-toxic community full of people that right now we've got an F-Zero. We've got a 99 channel right now where everybody's posting their dubs. So make sure you join us over there. But that's going to do it for this episode on F-Zero 99. I had a wonderful time. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. So don't turn that dial. But in the meantime, folks, you know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Watch Castlevania when it comes out on Thursday. Binge that shit. We need a season 2. But other than that, we love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.